There are moments in life when you must make a decision that not only shapes your future, but also defines your self-respect and dignity. You can continue forgiving, continue waiting for people to change, continue allowing yourself to be hurt, or you can choose a different path, a path of self-respect, inner peace, and an unshakable mindset. A Stoic does not let emotions cloud their judgment. They do not forgive blindly, nor do they allow misplaced compassion to trap them in cycles of suffering. Because forgiveness is not always a virtue. Forgiving the wrong person is a betrayal of yourself. Betrayal is not an accident. It is a conscious choice. Someone who lies to you, manipulates you, or takes advantage of your kindness, they don't do it by mistake. They do it because they know they can. And if you keep forgiving, you are sending them a message that they can do it again and again and again. Today, I will reveal 7 betrayals you should never forgive. Not out of bitterness, not out of hate, but because you deserve better. If you truly want a peaceful life, a clear mind, and a strong spirit, it's time to set boundaries. Watch this video until the end, because knowing when to walk away is the greatest power you can ever have. Sarah was a strong, intelligent woman with a big heart. She believed that people could change if given the chance. After 15 years of marriage, she discovered that her husband had been cheating on her with a co-worker. When confronted, he broke down, begged for forgiveness, and swore it was a one-time mistake, something he would never do again. Sarah had spent years building this family. She didn't want to throw it all away over one mistake, so she forgave him. At first, things seemed different. Her husband became more attentive, more affectionate. But then, the same patterns started reappearing. Suspicious texts, late nights at work, excuses that didn't add up. And then, the truth came out. He had never stopped. Sarah realized, with heartbreaking clarity, that she wasn't saving her marriage. She was allowing herself to be deceived all over again. Every time she forgave him, she was teaching him that he could do it again and she would still stay. Sarah's story isn't rare. How many of us have forgiven someone because we wanted to believe in empty promises? The truth is, there are betrayals that should never be forgiven. Not because you are bitter, but because you deserve better. So, what are those betrayals? Let's dive in now. 1. Repeated lies. When someone chooses to lie, they have already decided to betray you. Trust is not something to be given away lightly. It is the foundation of every relationship, whether in love, friendship, or family. But trust is not just a feeling. Trust must be built on truth. And when someone breaks it, the only question left is, do they deserve to have it back? A lie is not an accident. It is a choice. When someone lies to you, they don't do it by mistake. They think about it, decide on it, and still choose to hide the truth. And if they get away with it once, they will do it again. Not because they don't know right from wrong, but because they have learned that you will always forgive. That is why a lie is never just a lie. It is a sign, a warning, because when someone chooses to deceive, they have shown you that they value convenience over honesty, control over trust, and themselves over you. So, what happens when you forgive them? At first, they may seem remorseful. They may promise never to do it again. But when given another opportunity, what will they do? Will they truly change, or will they simply learn to hide it better? Think about this. A truly remorseful person does not wait to be caught. They come forward on their own because they cannot live with the weight of their own deception. But how many times have you actually seen that happen? The truth is, most liars do not regret deceiving you, they only regret getting caught. And the most dangerous thing about lies is not the deception itself, but what it does to you. It makes you question everything, even yourself. It makes you feel like you're overreacting, when in reality, you are absolutely right. It makes you wonder if you will ever be able to trust again. Once trust is broken, it cannot be repaired with words alone. And if someone has deceived you once, they they are capable of doing it again. So, what should you do when faced with repeated deception? The answer is not anger or revenge. It is simply to walk away. Not because you are incapable of forgiveness, but because you refuse to live in a cycle of doubt and dishonesty. Because forgiving a lie does not make you kind, it only makes you a victim once again. And that is why lying is one of the betrayals you should never forgive. 2. The silent disrespect. When you have to beg for respect, you've already lost yourself. Disrespect isn't always obvious. It's not just outright insults or heated arguments. The most dangerous kind of disrespect is the silent one, the slow erosion that makes you forget your own worth. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small things, subtle signs that are easy to overlook. When you express your feelings, they dismiss them as if they don't matter. You tell them that something they did hurt you, but instead of listening, they ignore or mock you. Over time, you learn to keep your emotions to yourself because you know they will never be acknowledged. When you set boundaries, they treat them as a joke. You ask them not to do something because it makes you uncomfortable, but instead of respecting your limits, they smirk, challenge them, or worse, cross them on purpose just to see how you'll react. This isn't just disrespect, it's a test. They're checking to see if you'll actually stand up for yourself. When you share your pain, they make you feel like it's your fault. You tell them you feel unappreciated, and instead of apologizing, they roll their eyes, sigh, and say, "You're too sensitive." This makes you start questioning yourself. Am I overreacting? Am I being too emotional? But the truth is, your feelings are completely valid. They just don't care, and little by little, you change. You become quieter. You accept disrespect as normal. You start believing that this is just how relationships work. But in reality, this isn't love, and it isn't friendship. It's emotional erosion. But remember this, someone who truly respects you will never make you feel small in your own life. You should never have to beg for respect. If someone makes you feel that way, you don't need to argue or prove your worth. You just need to walk away, not to teach them a lesson, but because you respect yourself enough to not settle for a relationship where respect doesn't exist. And the truth is, if someone doesn't respect you from the start, they won't change. Because respect isn't something you can force, it's something that comes from sincerity. So, what other betrayals should you never forgive? Stay tuned, because the next one might be the wake-up call you need to hear. 3. Emotional manipulation. If someone controls you through guilt, it's not love, it's control. No one who truly loves you will use guilt to control you. Emotional manipulation is one of the most insidious forms of betrayal because it doesn't just hurt you. It makes you forget who you are. It makes you believe that you are responsible for someone else's behavior, that you must forgive simply because they ask, and that if you walk away, you are the cruel one. But hear this, you do not owe anyone forgiveness just because they don't want to face the consequences of their actions. It starts subtly. When they hurt you, instead of apologizing, they make you feel like it's your fault. If you're upset about something they did, they say you're too sensitive. If you set a boundary, they mock you for being too rigid or controlling. If you try to leave, they cry, they beg, they promise they'll change, they swear they can't live without you. But think about this. They had every opportunity to treat you better and they didn't. Now they're only holding on because they don't want to lose what you provide, not because they truly value you. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to change. Every time you forgive a manipulator, you're not just giving them a second chance. You're teaching them that they can do it again and you'll still stay. They are not sorry for hurting you. They are only sorry that you found out. And if you keep giving them chances, what do you get in return? The same cycle on repeat. They hurt you, they blame you, they make promises, you forgive, and they hurt you again. Each time you lose a little more self-respect, a little more confidence, a little more ability to trust your own instincts. Until one day, you realize you don't even speak up anymore because you're afraid of upsetting them. You don't ask for what you deserve because you fear being labeled as selfish, and when that happens, you are no longer yourself. But here's the truth. Someone who loves you will never make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. Love is not unconditional suffering. Love is not sacrificing yourself for acceptance. Love is not a constant battle where you must keep proving your worth. If someone makes you feel that way, it's not love. It's manipulation. You can't change a manipulator, but you can walk away. Not because you aren't strong enough to endure it, but because you are strong enough to reject a distorted version of love. Not because you are heartless, but because you refuse to be controlled, and that is why emotional manipulation is one of the betrayals you should never forgive. But there are even more dangerous forms of betrayal, ones that can cost you your dignity, your self-worth, and even your entire life. Keep watching to uncover the truth about Betrayal 4. 4. Abandonment in your hardest moments. If someone is only there when life is good, they are not someone you can rely on. A person who only shows up when things are easy is not a person worth keeping. Betrayal isn't just about lying or deception. Sometimes the deepest betrayal is someone's absence when you need them the most. They may say they love you, that they care for you, but when you struggle, when you need support, they are nowhere to be found. And nothing hurts more than realizing the person you've always been there for is never there for you. At first, you might make excuses for them. They might say they were busy, that they had their own problems, or that they didn't know you needed help. But then you start to realize something. People make time for what matters to them, and sadly, you are not one of those things. You are the person they come to when they need a shoulder to lean on, when they need encouragement, when they need someone to pull them through hard times. But when you need the same, silence, unanswered messages, excuses. You should never accept that. You should never have to beg for someone's concern. You should never have to convince someone to care about you. Because the truth is, anyone who truly cares will never let you feel alone in your darkest moments. Abandonment is not just indifference. It is a statement. It says you do not matter. It says your pain is not worth their attention. It says their care for you is conditional, only present when it's convenient. But love and friendship are not defined by how people treat you when things are easy. They are tested in the hardest times. And if someone cannot stand by you when you need them the most, they do not deserve to be there when life is good. You should never have to plead for support. You should never have to explain why you are worth caring for. You do not need people who disappear when life gets tough, only to return when it's easy again. So, what should you do when you realize someone always abandons you in your hardest moments? You let them go. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you deserve people who are there for you without conditions. And that is why abandonment is one of the betrayals you should never forgive. So what do you think? If you agree that abandonment in hard times is a betrayal that should never be forgiven, comment 1 below to let me know that you understand the value of real relationships. And if you believe these truths are worth hearing, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss the next powerful lesson. 5. Taking advantage of your kindness. If someone is only around for what they can get, it's not love, it's self-interest. Not everyone loves you. Some people only love what they can take from you. Betrayal doesn't always come in the form of a lie or an outright deception. Sometimes it's disguised in compliments, kindness, and what seems like a genuine relationship, until you realize you're not the person they value, just the benefits you provide. Have you ever noticed that some people only come to you when they need something? When they need money, advice, a shoulder to cry on, or a favor, but the moment you have nothing left to give, they disappear? This isn't a coincidence. This is exploitation. Some people don't appreciate you. They only appreciate what you bring to them. They may treat you well, they may act like they care, but only for as long as you serve a purpose. The moment you stop providing what they want, they become distant, suddenly busy, or vanish completely. And here's the harsh truth. Someone who truly cares about you will not only be there when they need something from you, your kindness is not a free pass for others to use you. You can be generous, but no one has the right to treat your generosity as an expectation. Someone who is only present when they need something from you is not a real friend. They are simply using you as a resource. So, how do you recognize a user? Pay attention to whether the relationship is balanced. Are you always giving while rarely receiving? Do you feel drained in the relationship while they simply take? Do you sense that if you stopped helping, they would immediately move on to someone else? The truth is, people who truly care about you will never make you feel like your worth is tied to what you provide. So, what should you do? You stop investing time, energy, and emotion into people who don't value you. You don't need to confront them, explain yourself, or try to make them understand. You just need to realize a real relationship is a connection, not a transaction. Thank you for watching this video up to this point. Your support is what drives me to keep sharing these truths that everyone needs to hear. Stay tuned, because the most important lessons are still ahead. Six. Betrayal of trust. Once someone breaks your trust, that relationship will never be the same. There is a painful truth that everyone must learn in life. Once trust is broken, it can never return to its original state. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. Love, friendship, family. It isn't built overnight. It takes time, patience, and consistent actions to strengthen. But when someone betrays your trust, they don't just break a promise or hide a truth. They shake the very foundation of the relationship, making you question everything you once believed in. Betrayal of trust doesn't always reveal itself immediately. Sometimes it's a small lie you uncover. Sometimes it's a broken promise. And sometimes it's a deep, unexpected betrayal, one that comes from someone you never imagined would hurt you. But no matter the form it takes, betrayal always leaves a scar on your mind. When trust is broken, it's not just the action that hurts, it's the realization that you placed your faith in the wrong person. You begin to doubt not only the one who hurt you, but yourself, questioning if you were too naive, if you can ever trust anyone again, if you can even trust your own judgment. And that is the true pain of betrayal. It doesn't just take away your trust in one person, it makes you afraid to trust anyone at all. Betrayers rarely regret hurting you. They only regret that you found out. They apologize, they beg for forgiveness, they promise they'll never do it again. But think carefully, if they truly cared about you, they wouldn't have put you in that position in the first place. The truth is, someone who has broken your trust once is capable of doing it again. And if you forgive too easily, you're not just giving them a second chance, you're teaching them that their betrayal has no consequences. The pain of broken trust isn't just about what was done, it's about how it changes you forever. It makes you build walls, it makes you skeptical even of those with good intentions, and it makes it harder for you to open your heart again. But remember, the only thing worse than being betrayed is continuing to place your trust in someone who doesn't deserve it. Once someone shows you that they cannot be trusted, believe them. 7. Disregarding your worth. When someone keeps hurting you, they are telling you that you don't matter to them. One of the most dangerous forms of betrayal isn't a single act. It's a pattern of behavior, a repeated dismissal of your worth. When someone mistreats you, hurts you, betrays you over and over again, and still expects you to stay, they are sending a clear message. You do not matter to them. There is one thing you need to understand deeply. Someone who truly cares about you will never put you in a position where you have to question whether you deserve to be treated well. If you constantly have to convince yourself that they care, if you have to accept disrespect just to keep the relationship going, then you are not in a healthy relationship. You are in a cycle of self-betrayal. A person who doesn't respect you won't always scream in your face or do something obvious. Sometimes it's their indifference. It's how they make you feel like your emotions don't matter. It's how they consistently dismiss the things that are important to you. Disrespect isn't just about actions, it's an attitude. And this attitude can slowly erode your self-esteem over time. You may have told yourself, maybe they don't realize, or maybe I just need to wait a little longer and they will change. But be honest with yourself. Someone who truly values you will not need to learn how to respect you. It will come naturally to them. If someone continuously hurts you and expects you to forgive, they are not making mistakes. They are testing your limits to see how much they can get away with. So what should you do? You walk away, not because you are bitter, not because you cannot forgive, but because you refuse to let someone else determine your worth. If someone cannot see your value, let them go and make room for those who will. And that is why disregarding your worth is one of the betrayals you should never forgive. Forgiveness is a great virtue, but giving it to the wrong person can be one of the biggest mistakes of your life. Stoic philosophy does not reject forgiveness. On the contrary, Stoic thinkers believe that forgiveness is the key to freeing oneself from anger, hatred, and destructive emotions. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Forgiveness allows you to move forward without being chained to the past, without being consumed by what others have done to you, but forgiveness does not mean allowing yourself to be hurt again and again. If you forgive someone who has betrayed you without requiring them to change, you are not practicing virtue, you are making yourself vulnerable to further harm. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, warned, "A wise man forgives, but he does not forget." He understands that those who have hurt him once are capable of doing it again. So how do you know who deserves your forgiveness? First, look at their actions, not their words. Someone who is truly remorseful does not just apologize. They change. They do not repeat their mistakes, they do not make excuses, and they do not expect you to forget the past without conditions. An apology without real change is worthless. If someone hurts you and then offers nothing but empty promises, the only thing they truly regret is being caught. Second, ask yourself, does this forgiveness make my life better? Epictetus, a brilliant Stoic philosopher, taught, "You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your own reaction." If forgiving someone brings you peace, relieves your emotional burden, and allows you to move forward without resentment, it is worth considering. But if forgiveness means remaining in a toxic relationship, continuing to let someone hurt you, then you are not practicing virtue, you are harming yourself. The Stoics never allowed emotions to control them, nor did they allow forgiveness to make them victims of their own kindness. They understood that compassion is a strength, but placing it in the wrong hands is a weakness. Forgiveness is not about pleasing others, it is about protecting your own peace. And sometimes, the best way to forgive is to let that person leave your life forever. Remember this, you have the right to forgive, but you are not obligated to keep those who have hurt you in your life. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation, it does not mean trusting again, and it certainly does not mean allowing them to hurt you once more. We cannot control how others treat us, but we can control how we respond. You cannot stop someone from betraying you, but you can decide that their betrayal will not define you. Forgiveness is not a pass for someone to hurt you again. It is a doorway for you to walk away from the past without letting resentment weigh you down. The great Stoic philosophers never let anger, bitterness, or hatred control them. They forgave, but they did not forget. They let go, but they did not go back. They understood that peace comes not from trying to change others, but from mastering how we deal with them. So what is the most important lesson here? Forgive wisely. Let forgiveness free you, but do not let it make you a victim of your own kindness. If someone has hurt you, forgive so you are no longer chained to that pain, but also be strong enough to walk away, to protect your dignity and your worth. Remember this: you deserve a life of peace, a life free from liars, manipulators, and users, a life where you can open your heart to those who truly deserve it, those who value you not for what you can give, but for who you are. Forgive, but never forget who is truly worthy of staying in your life.